Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the International Webinar Series on Holistic Health, Well-being and Sustainable Development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 77 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030 as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India, Sri Research Institute, Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. October 24 is commemorated every year as World Development Information Day. As these are important commemorations, basically commemorated on 24 October. With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. So, October 24 is commemorated as World Development Information Day, which was yesterday. We couldn't conduct. So, we are commemorating it today. And today, and this week is also commemorated as Global Media and Information Literacy Week from 24th to 31st October. And this week is also commemorated as Disarmament Week from 24th to 30 October. And 24th October is also commemorated as United Nations Day. So these are very important commemorations and celebrations. So we'll be looking at World Development Information Day, which is commemorated every year on 24th October, with the theme of mobilization of public opinion as an essential part of the work on development consists of the mobilization of public opinion in both developing and developed countries in support of set objectives and policies. Governments of the more advanced countries must continue and intensify their endeavors to deepen public understanding of the interdependent nature of development efforts and of the need to assist the developing countries in accelerating their economic and social progress. Similarly, governments of developing countries must continue to make people at all levels aware of the benefits and sacrifices involved and to enlist their full participation in achieving the developmental goals and objectives. The mobilization of public opinion has to be responsibly mainly of national bodies. Governments may give consideration to the establishment of new national bodies or to strengthening the existing ones, designed to mobilize public opinion as a long-term measure to give increasing development orientation to the educational curricula. Considering that leadership can make a significant contribution to the mobilization of public opinion, the formation of concrete aims by the competent authorities is indispensable. The role of Organization of the United Nations has been to assist the various national information media, in particular by supplying adequate basic information from which these media may draw both substance and inspiration for their work. In 1972, the General Assembly established World Development Information Day to draw the attention of the world to developmental problems and to development problems and the need to strengthen international cooperation to solve Resolution 3038. The Assembly decided that the date for the day should coincide with United Nations 24th October, which was also the date of the adoption in 1970 of the International Development Strategy for the second United Nations Development Decade. The Assembly deemed that the improving the dissemination of information and the mobilization of public opinion, particularly among young people, would lead to greater awareness of the problems of the development, thus promoting efforts in the sphere of international cooperation for development. Since the 1970s, governments dedicated themselves to the fundamental objectives enshrined in the Charter of the United Nations to create conditions of stability and well-being and to ensure a minimum standard of living consistent with human dignity through economic and social progress and development. The launching of the first United Nations Development Decade in 1961 marked a major wide endeavor to give concrete substance to the Solomon Pledge. Since then, attempts have continued to adopt measures for that purpose. Unfortunately, however, the standard of living for millions of people in the world is still pitifully low. They are often still undernourished, uneducated, unemployed, and wanting in many basic amenities. Nonetheless, the current frustrations and disappointments must not be allowed to cloud the vision or stand in the way of development objectives. The success of international development activities depend in large measure on the improvement in the general international situation that requires concrete progress, particularly in the promotion of equal political, economic, social, and cultural rights for all members of the society. The ultimate objective of the development must to be bring about sustained improvement in the well-being of the individual and to bestow benefits on all. If undue privilege, extremes of wealth and social injustice persist, then development falls in its essential purpose. The international community must rise to the challenge of the percentage of unprecedented opportunities offered by science and technological advances, such that they may be equitably shared by all countries and in turn may contribute to the accelerated economic development throughout the world. So, developing countries must continue to increase their expenditure on research and development. They must also continue their concerted efforts with appropriate assistance from the rest of the world in expanding their capability to apply science and technology for development so as to enable technological gap to significantly reduce. Full international cooperation must be extended to the establishment, strengthening, and promotion of scientific research and technological activities which have a bearing on the expansion and modernization of economies. Particular attention must be devoted to fostering technologies suitable for each country, and concentrated research efforts should be made in relation to selected problems, the solutions to which have a catalytic effect in accelerating development. The information and communications technologies have the potential to provide new solutions to development challenges, particularly in the context of globalization, and can foster economic growth, competitiveness, access to information and knowledge, poverty eradication, and social inclusion that will help to expedite the integration of all countries, especially developing countries, in particular, the least developed countries, into the global economy. Furthermore, it is a well established fact that the information and communication technologies present new opportunities and challenges, that there is a pressing need to address the major impediments that developing countries face in accessing new technologies, such as insufficient resources, infrastructure, education, capacity, investment, and connectivity, and issues related to technology ownership, standards, and flows. In this regard, we call upon all stakeholders to provide adequate resources, enhance capacity building, and technology transfer on mutually agreed terms to developing countries. However, there are concerns regarding the digital divide in access to information and communications, technology tools, and broadband connectivity between countries at different levels of development, which affects many economically and socially relevant applications in areas such as government, business, health, and education. The further expression concern with regard in special challenges faced in the area of broadband connectivity by developing countries, including the least developed countries and small island developing countries and landlocked developing countries. This week is also commemorated as Global Media and Information Literacy Week from 24th to 31st October. The new digital frontiers of information, media, and information literacy for public interest information. This year's theme highlights the importance of equipping people with critical thinking skills in today's digital ecosystem. Digital platforms have revolutionized how information is created, consumed, and shared, posing new challenges in discern reliable content. The emergence of generative artificial intelligence further blurs the lines between human generated and AI generated content, requiring new skills and critical thinking. It's a pivotal moment for individuals to shape digital spaces they inhabit and contribute to more inclusive and resilient information ecosystem. In 2021, the UN General Assembly decided to commemorate Media and Information Literacy Week, citing the need for dissemination of factual, timely, targeted, clear, accessible, multilingual, and science-based information. The resolution recognizes that the substantial digital divide and inequalities that exist among different countries and within them can be addressed in part by improving people's competencies to seek, receive, and impart information in the digital realm. In the current ecosystem of complex and sometimes contradictory messages, and meanings, it is hard to conceive of the public good being advanced if the public is disempowered in the face of opportunities and threats. Every individual needs to be equipped with media and information literacy, competencies to understand the stakes, and to contribute to and benefit from the information and communication opportunities. Global Media and Information Literacy Week, commemorated annually, is a major occasion for the stakeholders to review and celebrate the progress towards media and information literacy for all. Our brains depend on the information to work optimally. The quality of information we engage with largely determine our perceptions, beliefs, and attitudes. It could be information from other persons, the media, libraries, archives, museums, publishers, or other information providers, including those on the internet. People across the world are witnessing a dramatic increase in access to information and communication. While some people are starved for information, others are flooded with print, broadcast, and digital content. Media and information literacy provides answers to the questions that we all ask ourselves at some point. How we can access such critically assess, use, and contribute content wisely both online and offline. What are our rights online and offline? What are the critical issues surrounding the access and use of information? How can we engage with media, information, and communication technologies, ICTs, to promote equality, intercultural, and interreligious dialogue, peace, freedom of expression, and access to information? Through capacity building resources such as curriculum development, policy guidelines, and articulation and assessment framework, UNESCO supports the development of ML competencies among people. This week is also commemorated as Disarmament Week from 24th to 30th October. Disarmament Week seeks to promote awareness and better understanding of disarmament issues and their cross-cutting importance starting on 24th October, the anniversary of the founding of the United Nations. The week-long annual observance was first called in the final document of the General Assembly 1978 special session on disarmament resolution S10 by 2. In 1995, the General Assembly invited governments as well as NGOs to continue taking an active part in Disarmament Week, Resolution 50 by 72B, 12 December 1995, in order to promote a better understanding among the public of disarmament issues. Throughout history, countries have pursued disarmament to build a safer, more secure world and to protect people from harm. Since the foundation of the United Nations, disarmament and arms control have played a critical role in preventing and ending crisis and armed conflict. Heightened tensions and dangers are better resolved through serious political dialogue and negotiation, not by more arms. Weapons of mass destruction, in particular nuclear weapons, continue to be primary concerns, owing to their destructive power and the threat that they pose to humanity. The excessive accumulation and illicit trade in conventional weapons jeopardize international peace and security and sustainable development. While the use of conventional weapons in populated areas is seriously endangering civilians, new and emerging weapon technologies such as autonomous weapons imperil global security and have received increased attention from the international community in the recent years. Measures for disarmament are pursued for many reasons, including to maintain international peace and security, uphold the principles of humanity, protect civilians, promote sustainable development, foster confidence and trust among states, and prevent an armed conflict. Disarmament and arms control measures help ensure international and human security in 21st century and therefore must be an integral part of a credible and effective collective security system. The United Nations continue to celebrate the efforts and involvement of a range of actors contributing to a safer, more safer, peaceful, common future through disarmament, arms control, and non proliferation efforts. In a world threatened by weapons of mass destruction, conventional arms, and emerging cyber warfare, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres presented a new agenda for the disarmament to save humanity, save lives, secure our common future. The Office of the Disarmament Affairs supports multilateral efforts aimed at achieving the ultimate goal of general and complete disarmament under strict and effective international control. The office also wants The office also works to address the humanitarian impact of major conventional weapons and emerging weapon technologies such as autonomous weapons, as these issues have received increased attention from the international community. The UN and nuclear age were born almost simultaneously. The horror of the Second World War culminated into the nuclear blast at Hiroshima and Nagasaki brought home the need to address the nuclear issue. By the first resolution, the General Assembly established the UN Atomic Energy Commission to deal with the problems raised by the discovery of atomic energy, and a landmark address by United Nations President Dwight D. Eisenhower in 1953, Atoms for Peace, led to the establishment in 1957 of the International Atomic Energy Agency, in short known as IAEA. October 24th is commemorated every year as the anniversary of the entry into force in 1945 of the UN Charter, with the ratification of the founding document by the majority of its signatories, including the 5 permanent members of the Security Council. The United Nations officially came into being, which is a symbol of hope for global unity. There is no other global organization with legitimacy, convening power, and normative impact of the United Nations. So, no other global organizations give hope to so many people for a better world and can deliver the future we want. Today, the urgency of all countries to come together to fulfill the promise of nations united has rarely been greater. UN Day celebrated every year offers the opportunity to amplify our common agenda and reaffirm the purposes and principles of UN Charter that have guided us for past 79 years. Today is also commemorated as International Artist Day. We celebrate International Artist Day on October 25th. Art as a creative human expression encapsulates myriad things. It portrays the beauty of life or a bitter reality. It records history, revolutions, rebellions, and sometimes is a means to escape them. In short, there is no history or culture without the art. This day celebrates all forms of art, painting, sculpture, photography, architecture, music, and more. Through this celebration, we show our respect for the passion and creativity in all artists. As art provide you with a medium of speech, let us also see the work of those artists who study, research, criticize artists to showcase their art of worlds. Today is also commemorated as World Lemur Day, which is celebrated on the last Friday of October this year. So it falls on October 25th. The objective of this day is to raise awareness about the need to preserve the endangered species and to celebrate its unique attributes. This day was first observed in 2014 when it was founded by Jonah Ratisbasfi in Antananarivo, Madagascar. Since the zoos and animal rights organizations across the globe have been celebrating this particular event, World Lemur Day is celebrated in tandem with the World Lemur Festival. Lemurs are primates that belong to suborder Strepsirrhini. They evolved on the island of Madagascar for approximately 40 million years. They are thought to have evolved during a period known as Ecocene. If not earlier, DNA-based evidence suggests that they landed upon Madagascar between 40 to 52 million years ago. However, the migrations of humans onto the island about 2000 years ago led to lemurs being restricted to around 10% of the land. Lemurs were given their name around 1758 by the Carl Linnaeus, the founder of modern binomial nomenclature. Their name is derived from the Latin lemurs, meaning specters or ghosts. In Malagasy culture, lemurs are believed to have souls capable of getting revenge if wrong. This belief has caused a sense of taboo or fady surrounding the mammals. In popular culture, Western culture specifically, lemurs have been featured as characters in children's films like Dinosaurs and Madagascar. Today, several species of lemurs are critically endangered. They are threatened by a myriad of environmental issues, hunting, climate change, and exotic pet trade. They are running out of resources for survival largely due to habitat destruction and degradation. This day was first observed in 2014 when it was founded by Jonah Ratism Bazafi in Antananarivo, Madagascar. Since the zoos and animal rights organizations across the globe have been celebrating this particular event, World Lemur Day is celebrated in tandem with the World Lemur Festival, a festival in Madagascar that aims to raise awareness about the plight of lemur species. Madagascar is the only place on the planet that is natural home for lemurs. There are over 100 species of lemurs. Lemurs have two tongues. Apart from humans, lemurs are the only other primates that have blue eyes. Lemurs are the world's oldest living primates. Lemurs are intrinsically complex animals, and it is a perfect opportunity today to learn more about them. Lemurs are on the edge of extinction. World Lemur Day serves that they are important and purpose of raising awareness about the danger the primate is in. Today is also commemorated as World Pasta Day. People have been eating pasta since at least 5,000 years. However, this delight day was only established in 1995 when 40 pasta producers from around the world gathered to hold the globe's first World Pasta Congress. Since then, the world has joined forces each October to pay tribute to one of the most delicious and versatile foods known to man, whether you prefer rigatoni, angel, hair, or pappardelle, you will enjoy this day. Today is also commemorated as Sourest Day in US, which means it's time for a sensation overload that will make your mouth explode. It's not just about sucking on a lemon or boatloads of over-sugared gummies. It's also a day for all things sour, from candy to kimchi. Sour foods can be everyday part of our lives. Grab some citrus and some yogurt. Sour candy, sour fruit, sour vegetables, sour kraut. Sour foods have been a staple in human diets around the world for centuries. And while the term sour typically brings to mind puckering candy, or rather than irate person, it really encompasses so much more. Sour foods have been on earth much longer than humans. In fact, the first crop of lemon trees has been traced to over 8 million years ago. Since then, dozens of cultures have been experimented with their own take on sour foods, most of which, as it turns out, are good for your gut due to their similar fermentation process. Today is also commemorated as Punk for a Day in US. It's all about celebrating the punk movement as well as the punk music. Because the movement is amongst the largest in the world and has some distinguishing factors. For instance, punks dress in such a way that possess a non-conformist attitude. Due to this, they are often stereotyped and treated as outsiders. However, this does not change how the great movement is as people continue to join it even today. However, punk bands are heard across the world and the form of music is created in different languages. There is also commemorated as Nevada Day in US, which is celebrated on last Friday in October every year. It takes place on October 25th this year. It is the day to commemorate Nevada's statehood as a 36th state to join the Union, and only the second state to do so during the Civil War. This day is dedicated to celebrating the resilience of Nevadans throughout their years of hardship and paying respect to the people, responsible people for their admission to the United States. While Nevada is known as a gambling and entertainment capital of the US, not many people know about its rich history. Beneath the facade of loud music, lights, and money, the story of how Nevada got to where it is now is worth exploring. Today is also commemorated as National Pharmacy Buyer Day in US, which is also held on the Friday in the last full week of October, on October 25th this year, to honor people who manage the changing inventory of pharmacies across the US. Since we, like everyone else, prefer our pharmacy shelves stocked with the right drugs at all times, we love the idea of celebrating National Pharmacy Buyer Day. Today is also commemorated as National I Care About You Day in US to plan something special for your friends or family. This is the day where we honor everyone in our life for no other reason but to tell them we are grateful. Although this day was most recently launched in 2016, This day is highly popularized through social media tags and post shares. Scroll down to learn more inventive ways on how to celebrate those who make life more beautiful. Today is also commemorated as National Hope for Henry Day in US to inform sick children that their health problems should not prevent them from doing what they love. It is a day created to give hope to children who suffer from terminal sickness. We should help them to do what healthy children do. Such a thing gives them hope to face health challenges and also implores everyone to remain cheerful. Today is also commemorated as National Greasy Foods Day in US. It's time to fire up the frying oil, chop the potatoes, and break out the napkins. You don't have to feel guilty about eating greasy foods because you are actually encouraged to on this day. From southern cooking to soul food to state fair favorites, greasy foods hold a special place in our hearts. When eaten excessively, our arteries. So it doesn't hurt to indulge every day, every once in a while, but don't eat daily. These addictive fan favorites are made greasy by amount of oil, butter, or fat clinging to them even after the cooking process. There is also commemorated as National Fine Art Appreciation Day in US. Is a day for doing every conceivable thing that translates to appreciating all works of fine arts. These include things just like admiring, looking at, and studying art and buying. Many people express their awe to particular works of art throughout the day, with some even going so far as to buy them from galleries. Today is also commemorated as National Chucky Day in US. This day is a celebration of iconic character from the Child's Play franchise is for all fans of slasher and horror films, and especially for the fans of Chucky and all the movies he has appeared in. Hope you remember the doll in all the horror movies that is known as Chucky. Child's Play is a movie franchise that is commonly known as Chucky because of how iconic the character has become. The franchise has about 8 feature films with more in the pipeline and several associated media featuring Chucky. The films and characters have developed cult followings, leading to a day being set aside to celebrate this important part of horror media. Today is also commemorated as National Breadstick Day in US. Breadsticks are slender sticks of baked, crispy, dry goodness invented in Italy. Aside from their crunch, the best thing about breadsticks is they can be eaten as appetizer, or you can dress them up with all manner of culinary embellishments. Today is also commemorated as Bandana Day to celebrate people suffering from cancer by raising awareness and support for all those who wear the accessories. Why bandanas? Chemotherapy and powerful anti-cancer drugs cause serious hair loss, and many patients turn to alternative means of covering their heads, commonly including bandanas. Actually, it is a Hindi word. Bandana comes from the Hindi word bandanati or bandanati, which means to tie. Its history began in South Asia and the Middle East in the late 17th century. With an increase in trade with Far East by the 18th century, the bandana came to the West and took off. The Dutch East India Company imported Kashmiri bandanas, which were a huge hit with women. More demand raised and prices until only the upper classes could afford them. Soon England and Scotland got into the business, producing their own shawl-like bandanas. When they reached Portugal, they were renamed bandano before finally coming to be known as bandana. The patterns also changed over the years with each culture and country it was introduced into. There is also commemorated as the anniversary of Philippine Military Academy in Philippines, which is observed on October 25th, which honors the Military Academy of Filipinos and is meant for the citizens of the country. This academy, commonly known as PMA, is a premier academy for citizens who aim to get a commission or as a military officer in the Philippines Armed Forces. The academy is developed in a manner similar to the United States Military Academy in New York and offers a quality education that places in the top 100 universities and colleges in Philippines. So with this, we shall conclude today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form which has been shared in the form of polls. Before leaving the platform. So see you all tomorrow. From tomorrow onwards, we are having International Conference on Veterinary Health Sciences. So we invite you all for the presentations and also participation. See you all tomorrow. Take care. Good night.